Good morning, Chris and Catherine. Well, I can tell you first off that this all happened in the house that's right behind me. The one thing that I found interesting when I got here, this police tape stretches from that house. It goes all the way down the street towards the next intersection. It seems like this neighborhood was in the direct path of this storm. You can see this backyard just filled with trees on the ground, debris scattered all throughout the yard. If you come down this way, dozens of trees just like this you're going to find uprooted from the ground because of those strong winds last night. Over this way, this baseball field torn to shreds. The big issue this morning is the fog. Come over this way. You can see that here at our field light. We've kind of set it up in such a way just so you can see how thick the fog is this morning. We are getting a better look at all this damage. I'm standing inside what used to be, it looks like a garage. Many family photos here on the ground. You can see bikes. You can see a bunch of boxes, a bunch of storage that this family had inside this garage. And it is amazing to look at all this damage and to know that nobody was seriously injured. In fact, if you take a look up, despite all the lights that you see on right now, this place is closed. It is locked up. If you come over this way with me, you can see on the front door that there are actually chains wrapped around the handles to that front entrance. Good morning to you. This is the ATM where David Muscarella was shot and killed. You can see behind me where police were dusting this ATM, trying to find a fingerprint, trying to ID a suspect. Now that suspect's still on the run this morning. Now this all happened in broad daylight. Muscarella just doing his job. So think about this for a moment. How often do you go to the ATM machine? Do you think about your safety when you're going to an ATM? Of course, they're very convenient, but they can also be dangerous depending on where you are. After you get your cash, wait until you get back into your car to count it. And experts say might as well just do the whole transaction in the car to begin with. So if you can help not going to a walk-up ATM and you can go through one of the drive-through ones, go ahead and do that option because you're able to lock your doors. You can roll up your window if you have to. And if you are confronted by someone, a thief, trying to get your money, trying to rob you, just go ahead and do what they say. Comply with them, do what they say. No quick draw from an ATM is worth your life. Reporting live, Zac Pitts 9 on your side. Now to the latest on that school shooting near Seattle. Police say this teen, 14-year-old Jalen Freiberg, opened fire inside that school's cafeteria. One student was killed, others severely injured before Freiberg turned that gun on himself. Well, is Cincinnati a bit standoffish with newcomers? Well, that's at least the perception to many people who move here. It's enough of a problem that a young group of professionals want to address it. And as 9 on your side, Scott Wegner shows us, non-natives are grateful. Well, the race for the Kentucky Senate seat is in a dead heat. Incumbent Mitch McConnell and Allison Leonard Grimes are now throwing ads left and right in the election day. It draws closer, but some people say those ads are simply just putting them off. CNN's Mike Pickett has the story. Breaking overnight, a woman is recovering at UC Medical Center after she was shot. It happened near Glenway and Warsaw Avenues around 1:45 this morning. When police got to the scene, they found shell casings on the ground. No word on any suspects at this time. Coming up, a soldier remembered, how Canada is honoring the victims of Ottawa's shooting rampage. Plus, weeks of searching come to a halt. How the parents of Hannah Graham are coping after a tragic end. Those stories plus much more when we come back. Stay with us. We spent the whole afternoon driving all throughout Warsaw, and I got to tell you, there are some spots where it does look pretty rough because of that storm damage, but one of the hardest hit areas is right behind me, that marina.
We came out of it in good shape.
People recall the moments leading up to the storm that trapped their boat.
I heard this big wind, and when I started to hear metal move above me, I decided I better get out and see what's going on.
It was a race to get the boat out of this mangled mess in fear of another round of storms rolling in. This one was lucky, only a few scratches. At least a dozen boats were damaged. Take a look at this one. It's on its side, partially underwater. Residents telling us the winds were like nothing they've ever experienced.
And it rained crossways for 2 hours. It blowed in the back doors of my house and it's never done that before. I mean, it was bad.
We head back into town. The damage is widespread. It seems like this neighborhood was in the direct path of this storm. You can see this backyard just filled with trees on the ground, debris scattered all throughout the yard. If you come down this way, dozens of trees just like this you're going to find uprooted from the ground because of those strong winds last night. Over this way, this baseball field torn to shreds. Bleachers shaped into twisted metal, while the home run fence lays flattened.
We was always afraid something like this was going to happen.
Back to that neighborhood behind the baseball field, we meet Roger King and his family.
Last night, my wife was standing here at this door talking to one of our other neighbors, and And the winds were gusting, like I said, 20 or 30 mile an hour, and then all of a sudden it was like it went from 20, 30 to 100 mile an hour.
Roger's windows are blown out, holes in his roof. He and his family forced to leave their home.
We had to shut the main breaker off last night because like when it was raining, water was running through the outlets and stuff in the house.
Roger's neighbor's home, as you can see, also destroyed. Many in this community are just thankful no one was hurt.
Well, I'm just thankful that, you know, my kids is all right, my wife's all right. That's the most important thing.
And we've seen city crews driving around, starting the first stages of the cleanup process. I'm guessing it's going to take a couple days. By the way, Roger King, that gentleman you just heard from, he and his family, they are staying with family this afternoon. The Red Cross will be helping them. Reporting live in Warsaw, Zac Pitts, 9 on your side.
People are asking in this city, young and old, what are we going to do?
That's the big question this group of Cincinnati religious leaders are asking. You'll remember when the Queen City was tested back in 2001 during the race riots. You've seen the protests in Ferguson over the death of Michael Brown. And just this week, a grand jury in New York chose not to indict the officer who ultimately killed Eric Garner. Protests happening there too. And back here at home, Pastor Damon Lynch says the answer to peace in those cities is conversation.
Eventually, though, the people in Ferguson, as well as the people in New York and Cleveland, are going to have to figure out how do we reform policing and at the end of the day have better police-community relations.
This room filled with faith leaders is known as the Amos Group. It's one of the most diverse religious groups in Cincinnati. And today, they're exploring diversity.
There's the foundation of white privilege in our country. And until we face that as a nation, I think the problems will continue.
Pastor Lynch says change starts from the inside out, as it did right here in Cincinnati. In other words, he says, we need to train ourselves to see through the eyes of those who feel oppressed. And that's how we, as a nation, move forward. Zac Pitts, 9 on your side.